school and college, so she's really into volleyball. If I ever see any sport, it's because she wants to go to volleyball. So if there's a good game coming up that you can give me some warning about, maybe we'll invite her. All right, so you'll see me scratching really strangely up my sleeve because I have poison oak right here and right here. It's kind of awkward.
That's like it right there.
I don't know. It's pretty brutal. All right. Everybody got handouts last Friday. Everybody's done their best attempt at the warm-up, I'm sure, because you're all good students and you would never waste away your starting of the school day. And who needs to make up the Unit 2 exam? Boys, we've already made arrangements. Everybody remember, like I told them, when you miss an exam, you make it up anytime you want on your first day back. You can choose the time, but not the day. Collateral damage. Collateral damage. Sorry. You can take it out on Mary. It's her fault. So feel free to martial law this situation. Patrick?
Oh, I was just gonna. Are we gonna go over the warm-up at the end of class? Or?
This one might have to wait a day or two.
Oh.
We're going to let it brew. Like a bad piece of gas.
Is there like a simple answer to it, or is it like all increased?
There's actually a really simple answer that unfortunately requires that you know some geometry. And so the funny thing is, it's a really simple answer, but you have to grapple with the principle of physics or principle of trigonometry that may not be that obvious. Geometry? Geometry might do. Yeah, geometry. And I'll show you, because I even have like a solar system model, and we'll turn off the lights, and we'll make seasons in here. It's all good. We'll turn off the lights. Okay. Weekend stuff. Did anyone go to the Carpinteria Salt Marsh? And it was pretty clean, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
Well, kind of a nice day, right?
Yeah.
I was out at the beach on Saturday morning. It was sort of beautiful. I went to Goleta. Did anybody go see the film festival Saturday night?
Sold out.
Wah, wah. You went?
Yeah.
And what did you think of the movies?
They were kind of cool. They were like, I thought it was going to be longer movies instead of a bunch of short films, but it was still interesting.
Cool. Any movies that are memorable? Like, I think Jose should buy this one for the high school.
There was one about Mount Kenya that was pretty interesting.
The one about climbers?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. And did they talk about their hurry to climb it before climate change gets rid of all the snow up there?
Well, that's kind of the thing they were talking about, is that the one climber had done it when he was 9, and he was talking about how there were a bunch of glaciers with his parents, that there were glaciers all over the mountain, but now it's just, there's not even snow anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Any of the other movies any good? What about The Wild Things? The one about the National Forest Service killing wolves and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, they were all pretty good.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Any other weekend stuff that's interesting? Does anybody here lobster dive? How'd you do?
Didn't go out.
Yeah.
You?
I did go out, but it was bad, and I saw 2 shorts, and I wrestled 1 legal for like 20 breaths. And
Where did you go? Not allowed to talk.
no, I can tell you. It was by, I don't remember what it's called. What's the place just south of Bacara?
Wood Beach. Oh,
No, between Elwood and Bacara. It's
not
a reef.
Woods. Naples.
It's not Naples, it's this way of Naples.
Um,
It's like Naples, Driftwoods, Bacara.
and
The
then not
place I'm
outside
thinking
of
about
your
that has those
the
big,
three-fold uprisings and
right
the
there.
Haskell's.
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 Haskell's. I went to Haskell's. I wanted to call it Hammond's, and I know that's not
How
right.
far out were you?
I went out past the 3 bird poop towers, and the visibility out there got killer. In 30 or 35, it was like glass. But in 30 or 35, like for my first free dive in a few months, it was kind of hard to. Yeah, I'd like kick down and look and be like, oh, I have to go back up. So I ended up diving like intertidal, kind of like right behind the wave zone. And there was actually more bugs and more bottom features, but shallower, but the visibility obviously was chocolate milk. Like, couldn't see your head. Yeah, Patrick?
Oh, I was just gonna say, you don't have any gear or anything, you just go to.
I do have scuba gear, but I usually save that for when I can get on a boat, because I end up having to like hike the beach a bit before diving. Taking all the scuba stuff is just not worth it. Not worth it. Like my scuba setup empty weighs more than 100 pounds, or around 100 pounds probably. Anybody else? No other weekend stuff? Fine. You already got the Unit 3 plan and paperwork. Here is the plan. Take all the dates you're going to need. I'd like everyone to please read the wanted poster slip. It's a half sheet of paper. And after you read that half sheet of paper, put it on top of your head. I'll be back in 1.5 minutes. Read the half slip of paper.
Like I can't draw. People can't just critique mine. Then the embarrassing. I don't have any place ever.
I can't draw that. She was like, okay, then you would think you're thinking
It's like 3 days off.
and we're gonna be
That's like hopefully, that's not like Wednesday get Tuesday. And like the teachers
like that's fair. You can't rate us on our critique all your drawings or thought. It's like
then you get Wednesday, Thursday.
yeah, I'm gonna get
So I went to go pee, and then the bathroom was closed, and I went to go pee at the other bathroom. Everybody did read their slip. So look, here's examples. They are all hand-drawn, hand-lettered. No digitizing or photocopyizing or tracing even.
I'm the worst drawer in the history of drawers.
This assignment's gonna suck for you.
Yeah.
Is this a group or tracing?
I can't do trace.
Okay, let me answer all these questions with more serious attention. First of all, no tracing. Second of all, not a group. Third of all, imagine how the other kids feel. Hold on a second. But nobody cares, Paige. Get used to it. Lifetime of abuse, all I can look forward to. That's all I got. Hey, look. Some of you are like, oh my God, I don't draw well. I get that. But you know, some kids draw well and they don't like do good test taking, or they don't debate well or whatever. So I try to give a little bit of diversity in my assignments. There's like 3 poster assignments in this class. There's like a 3-dimensional modeling assignment in this class. There's like 1 debate where you debate as a group. There's like 1 or 2 projects that involve independent research. And this happens to be one of the few projects that actually involves art. If you suck at art, okay. But I try to find something that everybody will excel at, which probably means I found something that you all suck at too. If you don't suck at art, don't worry. You might suck at one of the other assignments later in the year. You have to admit, you know, at least diversifying it, you might hit the one thing that you're good at, so hopefully some other assignment will definitely tickle your fancy if this one frustrates you. If you read the very bottom, you know that you'll be graded on aesthetic appeal and humor, which sucks because some of you are just not funny. Or some of you are aesthetically unappealing, maybe? Or maybe your papers are? I don't have anybody in mind. I'm not pointing fingers. But the grade is really on effort. You know, like if you try hard to make a poster that other kids are going to be stoked to look at, that should get you a good grade. You're not going to be punished if you suck at art. You're not going to be like graded down if you're not funny. If your poster turns out to be unappealing, then I guess that's, as long as you try, that shouldn't be a problem. I would recommend that you do try. It is a really interesting assignment. We'll talk more about invasive species over the next couple of days, and you'll understand why we're doing it. This year I'm doing something new. Please look up. You already read that you'll have to sign up for your species. Period 2 has to select California invasives. So invasives from our state. When you sign up, listen very carefully to what I'm about to say. When you sign up, you'll need to sign up for the common name and the scientific name. You're looking for ones that cost a lot of money or do a lot of ecosystem damage. So here we go. You will sign up early. Let me get another mark. You'll sign up early. Whoever signs up, quote unquote, claims the species. You could do a beautiful wanted poster, and if somebody else already took pampas grass, and you sign up for it later, the person who took it first will get the credit. The second person gets no credit. So the earlier you sign up, the less chance that someone else will select your species. If you're doing this at the last minute, be very careful because you'll have to know what's already on there. Get your name on there next, and then do your research. This is 2 steps. So go home, pick a species, sign up right away, sign up early. Common and scientific names are mandatory. And whoever signs up first gets it. Let's see. Period 1 is going to work on Santa Barbara County species. Period 3 is going to work on the entire U.S. Period 4, the world oceans. Period 5, terrestrial invasives from all over the world. And period 6 is going to focus on U.S. National Park invasives. You'll turn in your posters on Thursday the 10th. Are there any questions about the wanted posters? They're all 8 by 11. Yeah.
Do we research, like, find out, like, what is an invasive species from the area ourselves, or will you have a list?
No, you're on your own.
Okay.
And make sure that you have a couple alternates, because by the time you sign up, someone else might have chosen the one that you thought you were going to do. So make sure you have a couple of alternates. Are there any questions about the one poster assignment? Yes?
Is it just animals or is it also plants?
Animals and plants are fine, and insects are also fine. In California, because we have so much agriculture, we have like a lot of invasive insects. Yeah?
What do you mean by total distribution for the last one?
That means where they are found now.
Okay.
So like if you do the like a domestic cat, its total distribution is all parts of the earth that have humans. Yeah. Okay. If there's nothing else to say about the wanted poster assignment, question. We're taking a field trip in this class. We're actually taking a few, but Monday the 14th, we go on a field trip periods 1 through 5, which means you are not excused 0 or 6, and you'll have to participate in those classes or ditch or get excused by a parent. I can only bail you out from 1 through 5. We're going to go to UCSB. We start at the slough by Goleta Beach Airport area. Then we walk around the campus to the new housing area by the lagoon called Manzanita Village. Depressions if you surf. Ocean Street, where Ocean Street dead ends, like the little lookout at Second Depressions. We're going to go right over there. We take a beach break for lunch. Then we walk around the other half of the campus on the way back to the buses and get picked up. It is a super spectacular day. I'm really excited about it. I always look forward to this field trip. It's going to be really good. Yeah?
All of your classes, and you're like the leader.
How many kids was that?
The most I've ever taken was 160.
And you got to go on a bus, like a kid or you
A couple of buses. One grown-up. I've done this for years. These days are so exhausting for me. Like taking 150 teenagers for a walk. You can probably imagine. You know, there's all sorts. I should warn you, we are going to walk like 2 to 3 miles. It's a mellow field trip. It's like walking from here to the pier and spending all day doing it. It's not bad. But you walk a little bit, take a break, walk a little bit, take a break, walk a chunk, take a break, walk a little bit, eat lunch, walk a chunk, get on the bus. Super mellow, But you'll want comfortable shoes, diversity of clothing, because it's UCSB, so in the morning it could be foggy and wet, and by the afternoon it could be like blazing hot sun. So you want a diversity of layers in a backpack, and you must bring your own food and water. I know it's possible to buy food on the campus at UCSB, but we cannot afford to stop. 150 people trying to go get food at the food court is just chaos. Yeah.
During the period of time where we have to go to the beach, can we not go get food?
Correct. Because the beach is far from the food, and that period of time has been as low as 20 minutes. So if we only had 20 minutes, we don't have time for you to go and come back. We get as much lunch as the kids give us by walking fast. So if everybody walks fast and stays tight, then we can get like an hour of lunch. But I don't want to depend on that, because a lot of times someone will get hurt, the kids just stretch out, we have bad luck with the buses, whatever.
It's pretty dangerous.
Oh, like some cripple with a tweaked ankle on some crutches, like whatever. It just gets slowed down. So you must bring food. Must bring food. Must bring water. Layers, comfortable shoes, sun protection, some sort of sun. We're going to be like straight out in the sun all day.
Shades.
Lokes, we call them. Yeah, you must have your lokes. Wrap around, extreme. Okay. Anybody want to talk more about the field trip? So, yeah.
Would we get back here in time right away for period 6, or would we miss period 6?
Theoretically, you should be unloading the bus at the start of the passing period for period 6.
Okay.
And I've pulled that off a few times. So like last year, my kids got here at the end of the passing period, so the ones that had a 6 were like 3 to 5 minutes late.
Okay.
And that was the latest I've ever been. Cool. Yeah. It's more likely that I'd be early. Anybody else? Other field trip stuff? Okay then, some more news. Quarter 1 progress reports are due tomorrow. I need you guys to hear something. I don't believe in this progress report. Watch. Your grade is calculated like this. %, homework average, 20% classwork average, 50% exam average. If you had 100% on the exams, a 50% on classwork, and a 100% on homework, then your total grade in my class would be a 30% plus half of, 50% of that plus 50 equals a 90%. That kid has an A minus. Notice that in order to get a 50 on classwork right now, we've only had 2-3 points of classwork maybe with the warm-ups and that one, the warm-ups. So if you blew half your warm-ups, you didn't know you're supposed to do your warm-ups, that brings you down 10%. If you forgot one of your homework assignments, that would drop you another 8%. At this point, one homework assignment dropped you 8%. The point I'm trying to make is, please look up, the denominators are very small. This is out of 4. This is out of 1.2. This is out of one exam, which was curved at what in this class? 32. So right now, because the denominator is small, you miss a couple of warm-ups, that's going to have a huge impact. You miss a couple of homework stamps, that's going to have a huge impact. because your average is 30% of your grade. The reason I'm telling you this is the first report card doesn't really mean anything. It's not a good predictor. Like, if it says you have an F, you might be just fine, you know? If you had missed this packet, you'd have a D in my class. Missing 4 homework points at the end of the semester is irrelevant. By then, this number is like 60. So, you know, missing 3 out of 60 is not that bad. Missing 3 out of 4 is brutal right now. So a lot of the kids, I got sick, I got dumped, my dog ate my homework, you have like a C in my class. By the end of the semester, that will come way up if you're a better student than that. And by the way, a lot of you got an A just by turning in 4 out of 4 and maybe getting lucky on one exam. That A is not a guarantee that you'll always do that well. That's only 4 out of 4 possibilities. The point is, it's not a good predictor. I would not be giving out the Q1 progress report if the school didn't force me to do it. I think it doesn't predict your future grade. I think parents are going to freak out about bad grades, and students are going to get lazy if they have a good grade. And at this point in the game, it's just too early. It's like if you go out and, like, the first time they give you the basketball, you make the jump shot, and everybody's like, this is the best player! He shoots 100%! It's like, no, that was just 1 for 1, you know? Like, maybe I suck, and that's my one lucky shot. Don't get carried away. You can't put a lot of significance into this grade report that comes out tomorrow. Everybody got that? I don't want your parents to freak out and kick you out of the house, and I don't want you to get all cocky and stop doing the work. Okay. So now, I have something funny to tell you about. Has anybody ever heard of a movie producer named Christopher Guest? He made movies. He made Spinal Tap. He made Best in Show. A Mighty Wind. Anybody know that movie that spoofs the Academies? What was that called? For Your Consideration. Are any of these ringing a bell? The guy is known for making movies that are like mockumentaries. It's like a documentary about something, but it's not really a documentary. It's actors that make it look like a documentary. Okay. Christopher Guest, really funny guy, really important director, super famous. He said that his style of movie, his like comedic style, was very heavily influenced by a documentary about an invasive species. So I'm going to show you this movie. Oh, I can't find the box. Bummer. Oh, the box is pretty hilarious. Alright, so the movie's called Cane Toads. It's about an invasive species in Australia. This is the only movie I will ever show you in school that you don't have to take notes for. Do you remember why that is, Jack? I'm not worried about you not paying attention. It's like a stunningly wacky movie. Everybody being interviewed is not an actor. The science is totally real. And I swear, if you can listen through the accent, it's the funniest reality that you'll ever see. Like, you will not believe that these people aren't kidding. Okay, so the movie's called Cane Toads. We're going to watch it for the rest of the period today. We'll also watch it in class tomorrow. It introduces the concept of invasive species. Kids in the back, could you please do those things? And Mark, could you please get the light and close the door?
So the mockumentary guy, like, inspired by, like, a real documentary?
The mockumentary guy, exactly, was inspired by a real documentary.
That was, like, not good.
That most people thought was a joke. It's actually not comedy. Jesse, will you get those two things and close that front door, please?
What does he do documentaries on?
Spinal Tap is about a band.
Spinal Tap is about a punk band.
It's like fictional though, like the documentary.
Yeah, it's based on AC/DC.
It's like, so it's like
Okay, so this is called cane toads. Pull. Put your back in. There you go.
One male, one female and down is more than sufficient to populate the entire top end of the Northern Territory.
The best thing is to get rid of him, get a big stick and hit him with it.
Practice of going out and getting one of these things and putting him into a billy, boiling it down and eating the residue, I think is absolutely repulsive.
When I'm driving a car, I have no hesitation of running over them whatsoever.
These are all the people that you're going to see in the movie reading off some other wacky quotes. So at the end of the movie, the director was like, hey, remember that one time you said this? Would you look at my camera and just say it again? So these people looking down at the camera are like repeating the highlights. You're going to hear them say all these things as part of conversation as it goes.
Okay.
Couldn't do without them. They're friends.
That's a cane toad. I used to catch those in Argentina when I was a young kid like that girl. They're just like that.
music sounds like not like a 80s
Right.
crime.
So this is totally legitimate, and you guys got to know the science. I'm not making you take notes, but you can if you want.
I can recall quite vividly seeing cane grubs early in the morning. The beetle used to fly out early in the morning and land on the cane. The cane was weighted down with beetles. Trees surrounding the cane farms weighted down with beetles. Sometimes farmers would cut round about 800 tonne to 1,000 tonne, and the following year wouldn't cut a tonne at all hardly.
The situation really became desperate in the early 1930s due to the combined effect of grub attack and the effect of the depression on the world price of sugar. So something had to be done to control the grub if at all possible. And of course the farmers never let up on their demands on the sugar experiment station staff to do something about it. Well, in 1932 there was a World Conference of Sugar Technologists held in Puerto Rico, and we were represented at that conference by the Assistant Director of the Sugar Experiment Stations, Mr. Arthur Bell.
I believe this evidence shows that the Bucco marinus, or cane toad, can be effectively used as a biological control of the greyback grub and beetle, and I strongly advocate the effective use of this amphibian immigrant, which is doing its full share of benefit to our sugar industry.
And Arthur Bell brought back the suggestion that perhaps we could consider introducing the toad into this country from Hawaii. Montgomery was our entomologist at the time, and he was sent over to Hawaii to get a colony of toads together and bring them back to Australia and establish a colony in North Queensland. This he did very effectively. Over the long period, of course, it was necessary to keep moisture up to the toads in their crate to keep them alive. They couldn't feed them during the 2-week trip that they would be experiencing getting down to Sydney from Hawaii. And then, of course, another 2 days to get them to Moringa in North Queensland before they could be put into a pond, into an environment that they could relish.
You guys understand why they imported them? To eat beetles that were eating the sugar cane. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah, those are really things.
Montgomery treated them very, very well. He built a very elaborate pool at Moringa with running water to encourage them to breed, and they responded to his treatment, and they began to breed very vigorously.
Yes, I get vivid memories of the toads that were first brought to this place. They were brought here by a fellow called Newst in a couple of dishes. There's about 40 toads in number in all, and they were released in this particular spot over there. And of course my dad was an Irishman, and he was very, very pleased, and he was jubilant about the whole affair, and more so that he said this, and I quote, "We've got these bloody grubs by the balls this time, and we'll go on to bigger and brighter things." But tragically, we didn't have the grubs by the balls, they had us by the balls.
Sorry about the graphic language. Australians are
Amplexus is a sexual act where the male grasps the female. Of course, first he's got to get his female. And after the rains, when you have big areas of temporary water, fresh water, the males will gather around the ponds and they'll call.
Watch the
And
guy.
the call, of course, attracts the female. And it goes something like this.
Yeah, you're in high school right now. I'm getting paid to do this. Watch, now he's gonna work it out.
I
Watch this.
suppose the female picks the best or the sweetest of those calls. And when she approaches
Here he
close, the male will then grasp her into amplexus. And he does that by getting his forearms, which makes it very, very strong, and he pushes it into the side just under the ribs. And on the thumb there is a nuptial pad. This nuptial pad is very, very sticky, so that when he pushes the thumbs and his hands into the side of the abdominal cavity, the grip is very, very strong and firm. Of course, it's important that this grip gets strong so that he doesn't fall off, so that other males too can't push him off. She takes him into the water and she exudes the eggs in long strands. And as they come out, the male releases sperm into the water, which then fertilises the eggs. And these eggs are either wrapped around vegetation, but usually it's just left to float in the water.
Oh, that wasn't too graphic. Yes, the black strings are right. That's right.
One cane toad female can lay up to 40,000 eggs in a summer. That's a large number of eggs. The theory going that they need the 40,000 just so two can survive to replace the female and the male. But if you see ponds where cane toads have been breeding, more than two survive. The sides of the ponds are just black with young cane toads. And from what I can see, a large number of those survive. The eggs stay in the water and then they start dividing, and eventually they start to look like small tadpoles within the egg sac. The tadpoles, when they get sufficiently developed, start wriggling and they rupture the egg sac and they go into the water as tadpoles. And the tadpole is a very distinctive tadpole. It's glossy black. No other Australian frog has a glossy black tadpole. And then in the water for about 4-5 weeks, it develops. The back legs come out, and then finally the front legs. Then the tail is reabsorbed, and they move onto the land as small toads.
Wait, are you really telling me that you're grossed out by tadpoles? How many people are grossed out by tadpoles? Really?
But there's like 4.
Like, I wouldn't want to be like a fun.
Yeah, I want to go hug that thing. Like, you just
No, it's like a centimeter big.
he did metamorphosis.
Oh, dang. Oh, God.
That's cool. There's a lot.
Yeah, I don't think you should feel too bad. Everyone's like, oh
Look at your feet, bro.
no. He's like,
Not even like rain.
You gotta check it out.
Well, it's been 50 years or a bit more. And look, millions in this river.
Wait, this
There's
is...
certainly no shortage of cane toads in the area. They have a tremendous success rate. They can lay tadpoles in small puddles, 15% seawater, clear running rivers like this, just about anywhere. Equally interesting is that these tadpoles, if you look at them very carefully, some of them are beginning to get legs. And they do that at a very, very small body size. The native tadpoles have to get much, much larger than these little fellas, and so they have to stay in the water a little bit longer than what a cane toad can. So
key issue right there. You'll notice, first of all, that they have a zillion babies, but they all survive here. And second of all, because they come from a different part of the world, cane toads are evolved to get out of the water a little faster. You might assume that back in cane toad land, there are either shorter duration of surface water or more predators in the water than in Australia. So Australian frogs, they kick it underwater because the water lasts and it's safe there. But this invasive toad gets out of the water first, which you understand will probably mean it can start eating the other native frogs. Yeah?
Wait, it eats other frogs?
It eats all sorts of stuff. You'll see soon. It eats ping pong balls.
So you were saying like there's only supposed to be like 2 or 3 survivors, and there's like hundreds here. Is that?
Yeah, I mean in their home environment, cane toads probably have other factors that limit their population size. So here comes some science. You remember we talked about limiting factors, the last unit, things that limit the growth of your population. So back in Australia or something, who knows? It could be the seasonality of the rainfall. It could be the duration of the heat period. I don't know. But for some reason, they don't do that well back in Hawaii. They're just dialed in to be a small part of that system. Here in Australia, you'll hear for the rest of the period today, they just win. They eat everything, by the way. This single species has caused the extinction of something like 35 Australian species by now.
Toads get in fast with big numbers, they're out fast, and it aids their colonisation to a tremendous extent.
First memory of the toad was the unusual noise that I heard in the billabong hole across the house, and I did inquire from our pest board officer as to what the noise would be, and that was the giant toad. They soon came out on the roads of a night, and it did look as though they would really be a terrible menace, that they would take possession of everything. You'd flatten them out with a car, and the stench from them would be like a school of mullet coming up the river.
When one species of cane beetles in cane fields, it just doesn't come in contact with the ground. And we know that cane toads can't fly. And when the other species of cane beetles in cane fields, it's there when there is no cover on the ground. And cane toads just aren't in cane fields when there isn't any cover. In short, the lifestyles of the cane beetles and the cane toads just didn't synchronise. It couldn't succeed.
They weren't much use at all as far as the cane beetle was concerned, but they did manage to get rid of a lot of stray dogs. The dogs would be attracted to these moving toads and grab them, and of course the buffalo merino's only protection was his poison sac, and he used to let the dogs have it, and eventually quite a few dogs died. You know, looking back over the years and so forth, when you look at our imports, what we brought into Australia, this must have been a great country long before white man ever came to the joint. We brought in foxes and hares, and then to cap it all off, we bring this monstrous thing called a toad in.
An Adelaide man has been fined for his bizarre impersonation of 2 Queensland identities. Graham Cairns reports. Police told the Port Adelaide Magistrates Court that 32-year-old Philip William Elliott was charged after he was found crouching on the side of a road at Birkenhead in Adelaide. Police say Elliott was jumping out onto the road into the path of oncoming cars. When he was questioned, he told them he was Sir Joe Bjorky-Peterson and a cane toad. He pleaded guilty to the charge of disorderly behaviour and has been fined $50.
The cane toad spread faster and more widely than we'd anticipated in the first instance. And it wasn't long before it got into southern Queensland, and then attracted a lot of attention from people who were not much interested in controlling cane grubs.
They were like that in Argentina. They were everywhere in Argentina. What is going on?
No matter where you roam, you can hear them from afar. They hop and they
Toad was introduced to 8 or 9 different cane growing regions, and since that time they cover about 40% of the area of Queensland, a small portion of northern New South Wales, and they're moving over through the Gulf country and a part of the Northern Territory.
Did anybody ever see that Simpsons episode where Bart Simpson went to Australia and his frog in his pocket got away? The guy who, Matt Groening, made an allusion to this documentary because he has a map just like this, gray and white, with the black spreading frog. Bart Simpson in the movie, in the television show, releases a frog by accident that takes over Australia, and a scene in The Simpsons is a copy of this scene in this movie. It looks just like
the booth marching, like some sort of like invasion of Poland.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's probably what you're supposed to think about.
It's difficult to go anywhere in Queensland without coming across references to or idolatry concerned with the cane toad, because they are ubiquitous. They're absolutely everywhere. People are brought up with them, I think. And the Queenslanders are terribly protective of them, it would seem, that although something as obnoxious as the cane toad you would expect would have been eradicated by now, far from it. They, because they've got them and nobody else has got them, much the same as they've got Joe and nobody else has got him yet, they, I think, regard them with sort of perverted reverence.
Hello. Yeah, John? Is this a tall toad story? That's right. I was in Gordon Vale when they first released the cane toad.
Tell me about your recollections of those
when
days.
they first released them, John.
Yes.
Now, you know what a kerosene tin is like.
Yes.
Dropped straight in, they wouldn't go into a kerosene tin.
They would have eaten the cat.
That's right. They were that massive that if you put them on a big square mouth shovel, you couldn't lift them.
Oh.
That is true as I stand here.
You're not pulling my leg.
I am not. I can remember that it was yesterday.
There are still quite a large number of the toads around, but not as big as they used to be. But I still love the animal, and they give me a lot of enjoyment.
The term that's often used to describe that relationship that toads have with people is homophilic, which means that they just love people. And this is true in so many different ways because we are just so kind to the toads. And usually we don't know that we're being so kind to them, but we provide places for them to live around our gardens, under garden gnomes, in pipes, under houses. We supply dinner for them many nights when we turn lights on, and the toads sit around the lights and they eat the insects that come along.
Well, as you see now, I have quite a few which I attract by using a light which is not very powerful, which attracts insects, and also occasionally I feed them with scats.
Well, I started feeding toads whiskets because they started robbing the cat's dish of whiskets. So I used to put dishes of whiskets out. They didn't come inside. So everybody was happy.
You can hear now a noise probably in the background, which is a toad which is probably mating. And that's what I like about it.
The way they guard things, the way they hide, and they're cunning enough to peek out behind things. They can be behind a leaf or something like that if you're quick enough to see their eyes watching wherever you go.
I definitely think they're a harmless animal and nobody's got any right to fear about them.
I'm not sure whether I would call them pets exactly, but they're mates, as far as I'm concerned.
We often see them mating right here in front of us on the lawn. They are a magnificent animal if you just take the care and watch them and just see how they act under different circumstances.
He's all serious.
That's the hard question, to think of them as friends. They're just friends. Friends, I suppose, because they're around the place. You get used to them, you look for them. They're singing, they're calling. It's not only a pleasant noise, it's a friendly noise. I love it.
They are harmless, and they jump on us, jump on my feet, and they have no fear at all of coming near me or anybody that's with me.
Well, as a matter of fact, there are some people up here that would like the cane toad recognised for what it has done for Queensland particularly, and they were going to in fact erect a statue in its honour at Gordonvale on the road approaches to Cairns.
Well, the proposal to commemorate the cane toad was brought before the Bicentennial Committee of the Mulgrave Shire Council to record a unique part of North Australia's history. It was released from Moringa, just outside Gordonvale. It is going to be a cane toad bust of around about 1 metre in height, sitting on a 2-foot pedestal, so all up about 5 feet. And it was going to be a photographer's delight, and the kids could sit on its shoulders and whatnot. And all together, it was going to be, we thought, like the dog sitting on the tucker box 5 miles from Gundagai, and with that sort of tourist potential.
Oh, surely this bastard can't be in his right frame of mind. Fancy anyone wanted to erect a monument or a stone or some form of remembrance to this creature that's been brought in.
The council eventually came to the conclusion that it wasn't in their best interest to do so. Personally, I was extremely disappointed because I felt that this was our big chance to get a unique feature into our tourist development industry, our young developing tourist industry, where it was very special. And the fact that that didn't come to fruition, and I might add, with not spending a penny of ratepayers' money because it was a bicentennial project, I felt that we just missed the boat just a little bit.
Well, Bill Coben from the Department of Defence came and seen me and asked could I bind a book for Prince Charles and Lady Di for the wedding present. And he said he wanted something very special.
Did you guys catch what he just said?
Yeah, Lady Diana. It's about a book.
Yeah, look at the book that this guy made as a gift for the wedding of Lady Diana.
And I thought, oh, cane toads. It took me about a month to more or less join 5-6 skins together, and that's the finished product. The Department of Defence received a letter from Buckingham Palace, and it reads, "We are both overwhelmed by your great kindness in thinking of sending us such a splendid wedding present. Thank you so much for taking all the trouble to find something which is so greatly appreciated and will bring so much pleasure to both us throughout our married life. Yours sincerely, Charles."
Thanks for the frog skin book, bro.
The cane toad poison is a mixture of several compounds, and one group of compounds are steroids which affect heart muscle, and these are known as bufotoxins generally. Well, these of course are the toxins that kill.
As a mammologist, I always had native animals around me that I was studying all the time. And
this guy gets super bitter. Throughout the movie, he gets like angrier and angrier, so by the end, it's crazy. By the way, the bell's about to ring, so we'll pick up here tomorrow.
I had a Western native cat that was effectively a pet. It had been with us for about 5 years, and it had been very important to me as a study animal. The moment we got to Brisbane, I let the thing out into the backyard, as I was accustomed to doing. It had the run of the outside and the inside. And the first thing it did, it rushed over and grabbed what, to me, in the dark, looked like a gigantic frog. Never even thought about what it was. And I didn't think anything more about it than that. That's a natural thing for a native cat to do. But about 2 minutes later, the animal was obviously in some kind of trouble. It was beginning to sort of stick its tongue out and salivating, rolling around on the ground. Within 20 minutes, that beautiful, unique animal, which I can only say I was totally in love with. This was something I was really wrapped up in. Died in my arms in technic contractions.
The glands that produce the toxic material are located in the skin, but they're aggregated over the shoulder in this region here and here. And if you were to press these glands, well, you should cover your eyes with glasses if you're going to engage in this type of activity. Then, if you were to press these glands here, there, you can see the venom shoot out, did you? There are numerous pores over those glands now. Under pressure, that toxic material will shoot for about a metre. All in all, it's quite a cocktail of compounds, toxic compounds, and I think that people would do well to take care when handling toads.
Oh no, don't leave the baby.
Oh, hi, Wendy. Oh, good. I want to stay.
After all, people have been killed as a result of eating toads, both in Fiji and in the Philippines. There are well-recorded instances.
It's probably like
As far as children are concerned, I think that toads could be a real problem, particularly with babies, who'd be the young children who are attracted by the hopping gait of the toad.
Kids, we will see the kid eat the frog tomorrow.
So this week we have.
Hey, by the way, before you leave, this is a total waste of my time. Whatever, it's about as good as watching you talk. Or this movie looks kind of rad, I want to see the actors. Okay, cool.
You had more like this,
okay.
I would be so interested.
Leave the doors open.
Jose,
They're in order, so you'll be.
I was so pissed about his cat dying. Since you talk about his cat. I don't know, but so that guy's cat died? Is that why he's all mad?
Yeah, dude, the thing poisoned his marsupial cat.
So we have 3.3 this week instead of 2.2. We put that out of order for a reason? Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. When do we get info on our test scores?
On the most recent one?
Yeah.
About 2 weeks. It's usually about a 2-week waiting time.
Okay. Bummer, dude.
No.
Kind of antsy to know about the essay because I just like. Yeah. Alright, see it. Oh, what's the name of the director producer that like does parodies of these things?
Oh, what his name is?
Christopher.
Christopher Guest.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
you doing?
Colin Slack.
I keep meaning to make your burrito, but I keep forgetting and it just makes me so sad.
You're super bummed because guess what I did last night?